Hey there, everyone. I'm Alex, and welcome back to English with a Hobbit. Today, we're diving into another magical part of the Hobbit, a world full of adventure, mystery, and amazing words to learn. If you're learning English and love stories, you're in the right place. This series will help you build your vocabulary, understand grammar naturally, and enjoy every step of the journey grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's learn English with a little help from Bilbo Baggins and his friends. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes. Now, let's dive into the book. They are inclined to be out in the stomach. They dress in bright colors, chiefly green and yellow. Wear no shoes because their feet grow natural leathery soles and thick, warm brown hair like the stuff on their heads, which is curly. Have long, clever brown fingers, good-natured faces, and laugh deep, fruity laughs, especially after dinner, which they have twice a day when they can get it. Now you know enough to go on with. As I was saying, the mother of this hobbit of Bilbo Baggins, that is, was the fabulous Belladonna Took, one of the three remarkable daughters of the old Took, head of the hobbits who lived across the water, the small river that ran at the foot of the hill. It was often said in other families that long ago one of the Took ancestors must have taken a fairy wife. That was, of course, absurd, but certainly there was still something not entirely hobbit-like about them. And once in a while, members of the Took clan would go and have adventures. They discreetly disappeared, and the family hushed it up. But the fact remained that the Tooks were not as respectable as the Bagginses, though they were undoubtedly richer. All right, let's start with inclined. If you are inclined to do something, it means you naturally tend to do it. For example, some people are inclined to wake up early, while others prefer to sleep in. In The Hobbit, it says that hobbits are inclined to be fat in the stomach, probably because they love to eat delicious meals all day. Sounds like a great life, right? Next up, we have chiefly. This means mainly or mostly. Imagine you're packing for a trip and you take chiefly summer clothes because you're going to a tropical island. In A Hobbit, it says that hobbits dress in bright colors, chiefly green and yellow. So, those must be their favorite colors. Now, let's talk about leathery. This word describes something that feels rough, tough, and a bit like leather, like an old cowboy boot or a well-worn jacket. In the book, it says that hobbits have leathery soles on their feet. That means they don't need shoes because their feet are already strong and tough. Imagine walking barefoot everywhere without getting hurt. Pretty cool, huh? Next, we have soles. Soles are the bottom part of your feet or shoes. When you walk barefoot, the soles of your feet touch the ground. In The Hobbit, it says hobbits have leathery soles, so their feet are naturally strong and don't get hurt easily. Have you ever walked barefoot outside? How did it feel on your soles? Here's a fun one. Stuff. This is a casual way to say things when you don't need to be specific. If you say, I have a lot of stuff to do today, it just means you're busy, but you're not listing everything. In The Hobbit, it talks about the stuff on their heads, meaning their thick, curly hair. What kind of stuff do you keep in your backpack? If someone is clever, it means they are smart and quick thinking. Think of someone who always finds solutions to tricky problems. In The Hobbit, it says hobbits have long, clever brown fingers. Maybe because they're good at using their hand for things like cooking, crafting, or even sneaky adventures. Do you know someone who is really clever? A good-natured person is someone who is kind, friendly, and easy to get along with. Imagine a friend who always smiles and makes people feel welcome. That's a good-natured person. In the book, hobbits are described as having good-natured faces. They must be very friendly little creatures. This one is interesting. Fruity usually means something tastes or smells like fruit, but it can also describe a sound that is rich and sweet. In the book, it says that hobbits have fruity laughs, so maybe their laughter is full of life and happiness. Have you ever heard a really fruity laugh? When you have enough of something, it means you don't need more. For example, if you're full after a meal, you've had enough food. In The Hobbit, the phrase enough to go on with means they have just the right amount to continue. Do you think you've had enough practice with these words? Or should we keep going? If something is fabulous, it means it's amazing and fantastic. Like when you eat the best pizza ever, you might say, that was fabulous. In The Hobbit, Belladonna Took is described as fabulous. So she must have been an extraordinary person. What's the most fabulous place you've ever visited? Something remarkable is so special that people notice it. A remarkable person might be someone who is incredibly talented or brave. In the book, it says Belladonna Took was one of three remarkable daughters. So she must have been really special. Have you ever seen something truly remarkable? Your ancestors are the people in your family who lived long before you, like your great-great-grandparents. In A Hobbit, it says that one of the Took ancestors married a fairy. Imagine if you found out that your ancestors were famous explorers or kings. What would you do? Next up, we have fairy. A fairy is a small, magical creature often found in stories. They have wings and can do magic, like Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. In The Hobbit, there's a legend that one of Bilbo's ancestors married a fairy. Do you believe in fairy tales? If something is absurd, it means it's completely ridiculous or makes no sense. Like wearing a winter coat in the middle of summer. That's absurd. In The Hobbit, the idea that a Took married a fairy was considered absurd, but maybe there's some truth to it. What's the most absurd thing you've ever heard? To do something entirely means to do it completely. If you finish your homework and say, I'm entirely done, that means there's nothing left to do. In the book, it says that the Tooks weren't entirely like other hobbits. That means they had something different about them. Do you think you're entirely like your family? Or are you a little different? Members are people who belong to a group, club, or family. In The Hobbit, it says members of the Took clan would go and have adventures, meaning they were part of the Took family. Are you a member of any club or team? If you do something discreetly, you do it quietly or secretly so no one notices, like sneaking a piece of cake before dinner. In The Hobbit, it says the Tooks discreetly disappeared when they went on adventures, so they didn't want anyone to know. Have you ever done something discreetly? Hush means to make something quiet or secret. If a teacher says hush, they want the class to be silent. In The Hobbit, it says the family hushed it up, meaning they kept something a secret. Can you think of a time when someone hushed a conversation? Remain means something continued to exist or stay the same. If a building is very old but still standing, it has remained over time. In The Hobbit, it says, but the fact remained that the Tooks were not as respectable. What's something in your life that has remained the same. When something is undoubtedly true, it means there's no doubt about it. If you say, "This is undoubtedly the best day ever," that means you're completely sure. In The Hobbit, it says the Tooks were undoubtedly richer than the Bagginses. What's something you're undoubtedly excited about? That's a wrap for today's episode. We've explored some interesting vocabulary from The Hobbit and had fun breaking down their meanings. From now on, we won't be covering grammar in these episodes. But don't worry, we might create a separate series just for grammar, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell us your favorite word from today's episode or use one of them in a sentence. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.